Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Shri Nityananda Rama Ki Jai. So we'll start. We'll start with the song that was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, Paramakaruna. So this song is written by Lochandas Thakur, who is one of our great acharyas who wrote the book Chaitanya Mangal. Yeah, Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat was written by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Chaitanya Mangal was written by Lochandas Thakur. And Chaitanya Charitamrita was written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, right? So this is Chaitanya Mangal. And actually, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took the notes from Chaitanya Mangal, from the diaries of Murari Gupta, and the notes of Vrindavan Das Thakur to make Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's one of the, let's say, sources for Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this song, Paramakaruna, I thought it would be nice to first read through the translation so we know what we're singing. We'll read through. The two lords, Nitai, Gaura, Chandra, are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduced a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. Right here, Lochan Das Thakur is saying that they are the essence of all other incarnations. Why the essence? Because all the other incarnations came to establish Dharma, came to establish rightfulness, truthfulness, religiosity, came to establish so many different things. But these are the true essence of what all the other avatars wanted to establish, which is pure love of God. They gave it to specific people when they were here, right? Krishna gave it to the Pandavas, gave it to the Brajbasis, gave it to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, right? Ramachandra gave it to Hanuman, gave it to, Lakshman, gave it to the other people who were right around him. But Gaura Nitai came and gave it to everyone. So they're the essence of all avatars, right? Number 2, my dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious, by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hari Hari, without any motive. Number 3, my dear brother, just try to examine this. Within the 3 worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. Right? We hear this pastime of Jarikanda when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through the forest. Right? The animals began to sing with him and dance with him. And then when Mahaprabhu was in Nilachal, when he was in front of Gopinath and he was laying on the floor, right, in ecstasy, the stones began to melt around him, and that's why his body indentation is still there. So the power of Mahaprabhu and the power of the holy name, we cannot understand, right? That's why he's saying, just examine this, to think about it. There's no one like them. Yeah, number 4. But Lochan Das regrets that I am entrapped by sense gratification. And since I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, then Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement. Yeah, so he's lamenting that even though these people are here, right? These people are here on the earth. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu were there on the earth. Still, he had no attraction. Lochan Das, right? Today morning, Ananda Krishna Prabhu was mentioning so nicely that these acharyas, they aren't writing poetry. They're not simply putting words together that sound nice. Oh, this will rhyme. This is nice, right? Like when people write love letters. So much love is there in the letter, but where is it in real life, right? It's not there. So these songs are so amazing, but where is that pure love? Not there. Right? There's that famous song, the old song, right? Even if someone would love you more than anyone has ever been loved before, right? He says, even if someone loved you more than anyone has ever been loved before, I would still love you more. That's what it's saying. Not true, right? This is bogus. This is absolute nonsense, right? This is not true. This is the pure love. This example is given by my Guru Maharaj, I think, quoted this same song, and he said that Krishna loves you more than anyone has ever been loved before. And even if you would love him more than anyone has ever been loved before, still he would love you more. So that is the proper way. Yeah? So Lochan Das is lamenting that I still don't have attraction for Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So we'll sing this song, yeah? Parama Karuna Pahundi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra 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 Saba Avatar Sharashiromani Saba Avatar Sharashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Kevala Ananda Kanda Bhajo Bhajo Bai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishwasa Kori Bhajo Bhajo Bai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishwasa Kori Vishaya Chadhiya Serase Majiya Vishaya Chadhiya Serase Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Dekho ore bhai Tribhuvane nai Emona doyala dhata Dekho re bhai Tribhuvane nai Emona doyala dhata Pashupaki jhure Pashana vidare Pashupaki jhure Pashana vidare Shuni gyara guna gyata Shuni gyara guna gyata Parama karuna Pahundi jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Parama karuna Pahundi jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Samsara Majiya Rohili Poriya Sepade Nahi Lohasha Samsare Majiya Rohili Poriya Sepade Nahi Lohasha Apana Karama Bunjaye Samana Apana Karama Bunjaye Samana Apana Karama Bunjaye Samana Apana Karama Bunjaye Samana Kohoye Lochana Dasa Kohoye Lochana Dasa Parama Karuna Pahundi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Parama Karuna Pahundi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Sabavatar Sharashiromani Sabavatar Sharashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda 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 Kevala Ananda Kanda. Right? It's simply joyful. Kevala, only Ananda Kanda. It's only joyful. So this process of devotional service that Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu brought, right? They introduced a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. Kevala Ananda Kanda. That's what they brought. Yeah? So I thought, today I was thinking what song to sing, what verse to chant, what things to quote, what to talk about. And when we were in the kitchen today, we were listening to a lecture by Radhanath Maharaj. And he gave a quote. He said that to take Nityananda Prabhu away from Mahaprabhu, or to separate them in some way, shape, or form, is like the chicken analogy. The chicken analogy is a story in the Puranas that says that the farmer, he had a chicken. And he saw that from the back side of the chicken, he was getting profit. And from the front side of the chicken was a liability. It was eating all his food, and he had to pay so much to feed the chicken, but from the back, he was getting the profit. So he cut the chicken in half, thinking that he would be able to only get profit and not have to feed the chicken anymore. So this is the analogy. You can't separate Nityananda Prabhu from Mahaprabhu, thinking that, oh, I'll get from one, and the other one I don't need to. This doesn't work. So we will speak about both of them. Yes? Very well. Haribo. So this is the first verse of the 13th chapter of Madhya Kanda. So this is a very beautiful verse, and many, many devotees love to quote this verse and memorize it, keep it in their heart. I've even seen some devotees wear it as a necklace. So we'll chant this verse. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato Sankirtanaika pitaro kamalayataksho Vishwambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo Vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato Sankirtanaika pitaro kamalayataksho Vishwambharo dvijavaro yugadharma palo Vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro So this is a beautiful verse that was actually written or spoken by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Vrindavan Das Thakur used it in his book, Chaitanya Bhagavat, but this was originally spoken by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And it's something very particular about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's poetry is that it's a masterpiece of Sanskrit grammar at the same time rhyming. It's very amazing. So this O that you hear at the end of every second word refers to the dual term. In Sanskrit, we have single, dual, and plural. Many languages don't. You have single and plural. But in Sanskrit, you have the dual. So he's using the dual form, talking about Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and glorifying them both. So you have Ajanu Lambita Bhujau, right? So there's two people that have beautiful long arms, right? Kanakavadato. Kanaka means golden, right? So their body, their dhatus, their forearms are golden color, right? Both of them are golden color, right? Sankirtanaika pitaro. So they are the parents or pita, right? The parents or the originators or the people who distribute, right? Sankirtana. The ones who distribute, Sankirtan. Sankirtanaika pitaro, right? Kamalaya taksha, with lotus eyes. Kamala means lotus, aksha means eyes. Kamalaya taksha. So they have beautiful lotus eyes. Yeah, Vishwambaro. They are the nourishers of the entire universe, the masters of the entire universe. Both of them, right? Dvijavaro. They are the best amongst the Dvijas or the Brahmanas, right? Yuga Dharma Palo. They are the Palas or the protectors of the Yuga Dharma. What is the Yuga Dharma? Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. They are the protectors of the Yuga Dharma. Yes? And then at the end he says, Jagat Priyakaro, right? They're the beloved of the entire universe. And then Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro, the most merciful two avatars. Karuna means mercy, avatar, yeah, avatars, right? Incarnations. So like this, he's talking about two people, but every single, how would I say, adjective or glorification he gives, he's using the dual form. And it's such a beautiful verse because almost every word rhymes. Yeah? So many devotees absolutely love this verse because it's talking about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in such a beautiful way, written by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. We'll read the translation. I bow down to the two most beloved of the world, who are the embodiment of compassion, who have golden arms who have... different? Okay, I'll read from here. I offer my respects unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, whose arms extend down to their knees, who have golden yellow complexions, who inaugurated the congregational chanting of the holy name. Their eyes resemble petals of a lotus. They are the maintainers of all living entities. They are the best of the brahmanas, the protectors of religious principles of this age, for this age, and the benefactors of the universe, the most merciful of all incarnations. Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. Okay. So, ta-da. Ekachakra Dham Ki Jai. So, Ekachakra Dham gets its name from that chakra. From the chakra that Krishna used to protect Arjuna. Now, this pastime is actually one of the most sweet pastimes. In Bhishma Dev, this pastime is the all in all, his goal of life is this pastime, right? For two reasons. One reason is seeing Krishna on the charioteer as a charioteer is already too sweet for him. Because the Lord of the universe is willing to become what's called a sutta, or a lower class job, right? Do a lower class job for his devotees, right? Karna was insulted when people would call him Radheya or Radheya, right? He was a son of a charioteer. He was insulted. People would call him that. He would feel insulted. But Krishna is willing to be the charioteer of Arjuna, right? And then what did Krishna do? He broke his promise. So not only was he willing to be a low-class job, do a low-class job, he broke his promise on top of that to protect his devotee. Right? So he had no care for himself, his prestige, his name, his fame, his word, nothing mattered to him. Only the protection of his devotees. So when Bhishma Dev saw this, this is the most beautiful thing for him. And there's actually described in Vaikuntha planets, there's a planet where this is constantly going on. Where Bhishma Dev is non-stop fighting with Krishna, and Krishna is protecting Arjuna, and he's enjoying that to the top, the best of his ability. So this is Bhishma Dev's dream, let's say. So when this pastime happened, and Bhishma Dev finally put down his arms and surrendered, then Krishna tossed this chakra, and it flew from Kurukshetra to Ekachakra. And where this chakra landed, it made a huge imprint in the land, and this became Ekachakra Dham, because that's where the chakra landed. Yeah. So this is where Nityananda Prabhu decided to take his birth. Another pastime that happened here was the Pandavas. Knowing the potency of this place and the auspiciousness of this dham, even before Nityananda Prabhu was born, they were advised by Markandeya Rishi to go to this place and to spend some time there. And when they got there, they were able to perform some service to the Dhamvasis by killing this horrible demon, right? His name was? Bakasura. Yes, he was a very powerful, powerful demon. And the pastime is very funny, right? Bhima, the thing was that every month the villagers had to send a huge cartload of food along with 2 buffaloes and a man. Drive it into the forest, and the Rakshasa would eat all the food, the buffaloes and the man, right? This was the deal. And in exchange, the Rakshasa wouldn't come and eat everyone in the village. So every month they had to do this. And so when the Pandavas came and stayed with the Brahmana, it was the Brahmana's turn in his family. And so the Pandavas overheard the Brahmana talking with, arguing with his wife and his son. They were all arguing that I should be the one to take the cart. I don't want you to die. I would rather die myself. And like that, they were discussing. And so Kunti overheard them, found out what was wrong, and said, don't worry, I'll send one of my sons. Don't worry, I'll send Bhima. And so Bhima went with the cart. And Bhima, what he did when he got to the forest, he started making a lot of noise, and he was eating all the food from the cart. He was eating the food. He didn't care. He was making noise, so tasty, and eating, trying to get the Rakshasa's attention. So the Rakshasa comes and sees Bhima eating, getting so angry, and the Rakshasa started whacking him on his back. But Bhima was just, massage, so nice. He finished all the food, and then he killed the Rakshasa, right? So this is the pastime. And even now, there's a fossilized part of the Rakshasa's bone is there in Ekachakra Dham. You can go. It's a big stone like this, they say, is his kneecap. Yeah? There's also a Pradeep that Kunti Devi had. It's like that big. It's huge. But you see from the time of Dwapar Yuga till now, right? So this is another pastime that happened in Ekachakra. Then finally we come to what? This now time when Nityananda Prabhu was born. So I'll show you some pictures of Ekachakra Dham so we can mentally do a small parikram, and in that way also be there, see Ekachakra Dham, and get Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. So this is the beautiful ISKCON temple that was recently, 10 years ago, was inaugurated. Beautiful ISKCON temple. There's beautiful Gaura Nitai deities. You can see they're wearing a beautiful outfit. And there's also beautiful Radhasham deities. Radharani is very beautiful. Yeah. And this is the entrance of Ekachakra Dham. So when you enter into Ekachakra Dham, you'll see this. It says Nityananda Janmastan. So this is where he was born, Nityananda Janmastan, when you enter into Ekachakra. Then this is the temple right in the place where Nityananda Prabhu was born. This is called Garbhavas Mandir, where the womb, where Mother Padmavati, she was staying when she was pregnant, and she gave birth to Nityananda Prabhu there. And right next to it, you see that pukur. That was the pukur where Nityananda Prabhu and his parents took bath every day. This is their house. This is where they basically did everything. So this pukur is very, very auspicious. Many people go and bathe. These are the deities in the temple. Not the temple that you saw. There's another bigger temple next to it. But these are the beautiful deities. You have Advaita Acharya, Sri Nityananda, and Sri Chaitanya. Yeah, this is very interesting because you don't see many times where you either see Gaura Nitai, Gaura Gadadhar, but you don't see so often Advaita, Nityananda, and Mahaprabhu. It's like all the Vishnu Tattva side of Panchatattva is there. It's quite interesting.
Nityananda's in the middle.
Yeah, Nityananda is in the middle, right? Beautiful. This is the Nityananda deity that's inside the small white mandir we saw at his birthplace. So this is very merciful. You can see when the deity has his hands like this, it basically means I'm not holding anything back. You just take it. You know, it's like when someone says, what do you have? I have nothing, right? Whatever I have, you take. So this mudra, when the deity is in this position, you'll see Dameshwar Mahaprabhu is also in this position. It's just giving. There's no stop. There's nothing holding. There's some that are like this, instruction and mercy, right? There's different mudras, yeah? Instruction, right? But when they're like this, there's no circumstance for the mercy. There's no need to learn anything, no need to do anything. You're getting everything, yeah? This is the beautiful temple where the Advaita Acharya, Nityananda, and Gauranga are situated. Now, we will begin the pastimes, yes? So this is Mayapur Nityananda in his Abhishek, yeah? Right after his Abhishek. Okay, so I was thinking today what to speak about. And I was thinking, let's take a summary of Nityananda Prabhu's childhood, his birth, his childhood, all the way up to when he meets Mahaprabhu. Yes? So we'll begin with his birth. So Nityananda Prabhu's parents are Hadai Pandit and Padmavati Devi. Those are the parents of Nityananda Prabhu. And Hadai Pandit and Padmavati Devi, they got married, but for a long time they weren't able to have any children. For a long time. And so it became a thing in the whole village that they were all doing prayers and austerity for Hadai Pandit and Padmavati Devi to have a child. Hadai Pandit was the most beloved of all the Brahmana community. He was also like the spiritual leader of Ekachakra at the time. And so it became, the whole village got into this mood of kind of like a super Garbhadam Samskar, you know, where everyone's chanting extra rounds and everyone's meditating on the Lord and asking for his mercy. So finally, when Hadai Pandit and Padmavati Devi, they got pregnant, when Padmavati Devi was pregnant, the entire village was waiting in anticipation, finally, to see the son of this glorious couple. At that time, when Nityananda Prabhu was born, the entire village did a huge celebration. And it is said, just like in Vrindavan, where all the inhabitants loved Krishna more than their own kids, same happened in Ekachakra Dham. The Nityananda Prabhu was the most dear. Nityananda Prabhu was the talk of the town. Everyone wanted to be with Nityananda Prabhu. It says that all the children of the town would spend their entire day with Nityananda Prabhu. They would come home in the evening, tell their parents all the pastimes that Nityananda Prabhu did that day. And like that, all day they were just playing and playing and playing. And what playing was Nityananda Prabhu doing? Unlike Mahaprabhu, right? Unlike Mahaprabhu, his pastimes in the beginning were very mischievous, right? Mahaprabhu was stealing, annoying the brahmanas in the Ganga. So many different pastimes Mahaprabhu did when he was very small. Then he was Nimai Pandit. Nityananda Prabhu from the very beginning was just love of God, giving love of God from everyone and anyone. So he engaged all his friends in non-stop dramas. Day and night they would enact all the pastimes of Krishna. They were following the Ashtakalya Leela. So when the pastime happened, they would do the pastime. So if it happened at night, they would wake up at night and go to the forest and do the drama of the pastime. Nityananda Prabhu so expertly would engage all his friends. You're Krishna, you're Radharani, you're Subal, you're Sridham, and like that. He would give them all their roles, tell them their lines, and he, of course, was always either Balaram, or he was Lakshman, or he was, different people, all in Balaram, whoever Balaram became. Yeah? And so like that, he was enacting all the pastimes with his friends. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, he goes into little detail about Krishna's pastimes, but he goes into great detail in the most amazing thing, which all the villagers actually realized what Nityananda Prabhu was doing, was when he did the Ramayan pastime. Right? So they did the Ramayan pastime, and when it came to the part where Indrajit shot the weapon at Nityananda Prabhu, the boy, Indrajit, he threw a lotus at Nityananda Prabhu, saying it was the Shakti weapon, right? And it hit Nityananda Prabhu and he fell unconscious. Not only unconscious, he was actually lifeless. He wasn't even breathing. So all the boys, they were playing, and then seeing Nityananda Prabhu unconscious, they completely started crying, fell on the ground, called the parents. The whole village came and checked, and they saw Nityananda Prabhu was dead, completely gone, no life, no breathing, nothing. And so when they asked the boys what happened, and the boy who was Indrajit said, I threw this at him, a little lotus flower, and then he fell unconscious. How is that possible? I didn't do anything wrong, right? And so finally, when old Brahman came and said, he realized at what point the pastime was, and he said, what did Nityananda Prabhu tell you what's going to happen now in the drama? And then the boys remembered, because of the shock of seeing Nityananda Prabhu faint, they completely forgot about their lines, what happens next. And so then they remembered, oh yeah, Hanuman, you're supposed to go get the medicine. And so Hanuman quickly runs into the forest, and he jumps over the rivers, and finally he gets, and there was already a Brahmin there waiting, right? There's the sage waiting there, who was the Rakshasa, who tells Hanuman, why don't you take a bath and relax a little bit, and then you can continue on your journey. And then Hanuman jumped into the pukur, into the lake, to take a bath, and there was another boy acting as a crocodile who grabbed Hanuman, and they wrestled in the pukur. This is all happening, but you have to understand that no one's there watching it, right? It's not like the entire crowd goes with Hanuman everywhere. No, they're playing it because they love to play the pastime, right? Then Hanuman wins the crocodile, throws him on the bank, rips open his chest, right? And then he goes to the Brahmana, and the Brahmana takes his real form, a Rakshasa, and they also fight, and Hanuman quickly kills the Rakshasa. Then he brings the herbs back, and all the villagers are waiting there with Nityananda Prabhu, wondering what's going to happen now. And so the doctors, they grab the medicines, they put it next to Nityananda Prabhu's nose, and he comes back to life. And then everyone realized that Nityananda Prabhu, he's doing these pastimes to such a detail, and such, like even the words that they would say was exactly what was inside Valmiki Ramayana, what was exactly inside the Puranas. And so they understood, Nityananda Prabhu, how do you know these pastimes, they were asking him. How do you know these pastimes? How do you know them so well? And Nityananda Prabhu would tell them, they're my pastimes. And they would just laugh. They would say, oh, a boy is just talking. But he would tell them, these are my pastimes. That's how I know them, right? So like that, he continued doing his pastimes. And at the age of 12, I think, I may be wrong, is when Mahaprabhu was born, when Nityananda Prabhu was 12 years old. And so when Nityananda Prabhu felt the presence of Mahaprabhu in this world, he understood that now is the time that he has to go and begin traveling. He really felt the need to begin traveling. But he was feeling so much anxiety about separation from Hadai Pandit and Mother Padmavati. He knew that if he left, they wouldn't be able to live, right? He knew that if he left, the inhabitants of Ekachakra would be so sad. How would they survive? So he was thinking like this in anguish. What should he do? Until finally, one very beautiful sannyasi, right? The name of the sannyasi isn't given. It's simply described. A beautiful, effulgent sannyasi came. And he came and stayed in the house of Hadai Pandit. And following the culture, Hadai Pandit said, my dear sannyasi, my dear Brahmin, what is it you want from me? Anything you want, I'll give you. And the sannyasi said, anything? He said, yes, anything you want, I'll give you. But he never expected the sannyasi to ask for Nityananda. The sannyasi saw Nityananda and thought, I cannot separate from this boy. I cannot separate from the Lord. So he said, please give me your eldest son, Nityananda, to travel with me. I will take him all over to the holy places. He will learn so much. He will gain so much piety, seeing all the holy places, and he'll come back to you. But Hadai Pandit was just feeling this separation, but at the same time, he was thinking about how Nityananda Prabhu was enacting the pastimes of Ramayan so well, so he connected to Dasharat. And he thought Dasharat had to separate from Ram on the request of Vishwamitra. When Vishwamitra came and asked for Ram's hand, for Ram and Lakshman to come, Dasharat had to give them up, even though he would give up his life. So he thought, I have to do this. Anyway, he went and consulted with Padmavati, and Padmavati Devi was of the same opinion that we have to do this. It is our dharma, it is our duty as grihastas to fulfill the desire. And so they agreed. But in exchange, the sannyasi gave a very beautiful deity of Banki Rai. I was looking for his picture, but they're very strict on pictures. I couldn't find. But he's a very beautiful deity of Krishna. And actually, it's described in many places that Nityananda Prabhu entered into this deity at the time of leaving this world. So this Banki Rai deity that was given by the sannyasi to Padmavati as a little bit of solace that Nityananda Prabhu could leave. And when Padmavati started worshipping this deity, she saw only Nityananda in the deity. So she was feeling a little bit peaceful. So at that age of 14, finally Nityananda Prabhu began his journey. And so now we enter into Adikanda chapter 2, when Nityananda Prabhu is traveling. Yeah? So Nityananda Prabhu, he traveled to so many places. I should have the whole list. There we go. This is only some of them, and you can see some of them are like triples, like number 58 is triples, 4s, 47, 46. This is just some of the places where Nityananda Prabhu went. And what's interesting is that this is the order in which Vrindavan Das Thakur writes in Nityananda Charitamrita, but it doesn't make sense because it's not a circle. It's not like a regular parikram. Nityananda Prabhu is going here, then there, then there, then there, then there. He's crisscrossing over the entire India. So ChatGPT, I asked ChatGPT, I put the entire list and I said, calculate how many kilometers this is. If one would follow this order, right? And it came out 12,740 kilometers, right? And this was over a period, Nityananda Prabhu traveled for 20 years. Nityananda Prabhu was traveling. So that comes down, right? Let me find it. Yeah, something like that. Double from here to India. Wow. So if you calculate it separating into the years, month, and week, that's 610 kilometers a year, 50 kilometers a month, 11 kilometers a week, and 1.6 kilometers a day, right? So it's not so much. Nityananda Prabhu took his time, right? He would spend time with the devotees. He would spend time with the people there, hear the pastimes, right? Vrindavan Das Thakur gives details of what happened in each of these places. When he got to Mathura, you can see, I think Mathura is number 6. It was in the beginning of from Ekachakra, he went straight towards that area. When he went to Mathura there, he spent some time in the house of Mr. Chobe. I said Mr. Chobe. Damodar Chobe, yeah? Some people call him Mr. Chobe. Gurudev says sometimes, right? Mr. and Mrs. Chobe, right? So Madan Gopal, the deity of Madan Mohan, who later became Madan Mohan, Madan Gopal, who was discovered by Advaitacharya before Nityananda Prabhu went, was living in Mathura in the house of Damodar Chobe, the Brahmana. And so Nityananda Prabhu went and spent some time with Madan Gopal, taking darshan of Madan Gopal. He went in Vrindavan, he went to all the places of pastimes that he performed with Krishna and was, enjoying so much in the bliss of separation at the same time, remembering the pastimes. So Nityananda Prabhu had an amazing journey. When he got to, Dwarka, number 13, right? On his way back from Dwarka is when he met Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, as we know, is the great gurus. So the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guru, right? The guru of Ishwara Puri. He met Madhavendra Puri, and there he took initiation. There's not exactly described like formal initiation, but he took shiksha from Madhavendra Puri. And they traveled together to many places, speaking about Krishna, talking about Krishna, spending time together. Madhavendra Puri's description of Nityananda is so ecstatic. Madhavendra Puri was so much in bliss spending time with Nityananda. He felt like it was part of his soul he couldn't give up. Yeah. And so after some time of traveling with Madhavendra Puri, finally they separated ways. And Nityananda Prabhu continued traveling until finally he ended up, number 74, back in Vrindavan. So when he was back in Vrindavan at the end, right, of his travels, I'll go back to a beautiful picture. When he came back to Vrindavan, then he was waiting for Mahaprabhu to begin his Sankirtan pastimes. He knew Mahaprabhu is beginning, he's doing his pastimes, but he hadn't started preaching yet. He was still Nimai Pandit. He wasn't distributing love of God yet. And so Nitai was waiting until such a time when Mahaprabhu begins his actual pastimes of the Sankirtan movement. So finally, when Nityananda Prabhu felt that Mahaprabhu is going to begin his pastimes, then he decided, it's time. Yeah? It's time for me to go to Mayapur Dham. So now we begin the main chapter we'll be speaking about today, which is the meeting of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. Yeah? So we'll begin reading from this chapter. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and all glories to Sri Nityananda. All glories to Sri Advaitacharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Gauranga. All glories to the Lord, who is the life and soul of Narahari and Gadadhar. O Lord, please glance mercifully towards me. All glories to Sri Gauranga along with his devotees. If one hears the topics of Lord Nityananda, he will certainly achieve pure devotional service. This is the blessing given by Vrindavan Das Thakur at the beginning of this chapter. Yeah? So, Nityananda Prabhu finally entering into Mayapur, he went to the house of Nandana Acharya. Nandana Acharya's house is right outside ISKCON Mayapur. If you go on the main road just a little bit to the left after exiting the main gate, you'll see the house of Nandana Acharya. And the actual place where Mahaprabhu was reunited with Nityananda Prabhu, they still to this day maintain as a beautiful garden. I mean, it's right in between two big roads, so it's a little bit dusty at times, but it's a beautiful garden, and they maintain it that way. It's a very beautiful place to go. So when he got to Nandana Acharya's house, Nandana Acharya was a Mahabhagavata, was a pure devotee. And understanding the nature of Nityananda Prabhu, he was in ecstasy to have him staying in his house. But Nityananda Prabhu specified to him, please don't tell everyone that I'm here. I want to wait for Mahaprabhu to tell me to find me basically, to give me instruction. Even though Nityananda could from the very beginning begin the Sankirtan movement, he was waiting for Mahaprabhu. He felt that that was his part in the service. Yeah? So Nandana Acharya is describing the beauty of Nityananda. It says, the enchanting beauty of his face defeated millions of moons. Shri Shri Nishangade Bhagavan ki jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Yeah? His enchanting beauty of his face defeated millions of moons. His sweet smile enlivened all the people of the world. His beautifully brilliant teeth were just like pearls, and his two broad lotus eyes increased the beauty of his face. His hands stretched to his knees, and his chest was very wide. His lotus feet were expert in walking. That makes sense. It specifies here. Expert in walking. Lord Nityananda spoke with everyone with burning compassion. Hearing the words of his lotus mouth completely destroyed one's bondage to fruitive activities. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. As Nityananda arrived in Nadia, all the residents began to chant, Jai, Jai. Who is so expert to describe his glories? Yeah? So Nandana Acharya was there in the house, Nityananda Prabhu was there in the house of Nandana Acharya, and Mahaprabhu already before Nityananda Prabhu's arrival spoke to his associates. He told them that in 2 or 3 days, a very amazing personality is going to arrive in Nadia. He didn't say who, he didn't say who this person was, but he specified in 2 or 3 days. And just when Mahaprabhu said, 2 days after, Nityananda Prabhu arrived. So Mahaprabhu, that evening, he began to tell his associates. He said, "Today I had a wonderful dream. I saw a beautiful chariot with a flag on top that came and stopped near my door. Within the chariot was a remarkable personality. He carried a large pillar, right, a gada, on his shoulder. And he appeared restless. He had a stick tucked into his clothes and carried a pitcher in his left hand. He dressed in blue garments with a blue chadar on his chest. A wonderful earring hung from his left ear, and his features, by his features, I assumed he was none other than Haladar Balaram. He repeatedly asked, 'Is this the house of Nimai Pandit? Is this the house of Nimai Pandit?' Lord Chaitanya continued, 'I've never seen such a noble and powerful personality. He was effulgent and dressed as an avadut, or mendicant. I was severely stunned by seeing him, and I asked him, 'Who are you?' He smilingly replied, 'I am your brother, and we will meet and know each other tomorrow.' Hearing his words, my happiness increased. I consider myself as similar to that personality." This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his associates. So he spoke this beautiful dream to them, and he said, "Go and find this person. He is in Navadvip. You have to go find him." So he sent Srivas Thakur in one direction, he sent Gadadhar in another, he sent Murari Gupta in different directions, all looking for Nityananda Prabhu. But by the arrangement of the Lord, they were not able to find. In Vrindavandas Thakur, he specifies that this was actually a point Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, that you cannot find the mercy, you cannot find Nimai without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah? Without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can't find Nityananda. So they go hand in hand. They always say, without the mercy of Nityananda, you can't find Chaitanya. Without Chaitanya, you can't find Nityananda. They're always together. Yeah? So, finally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I will take you." So after not finding him, everyone came back, and Mahaprabhu took them straight to the house of Nandanacharya. On the way, it's described that he called to Murari Gupta because from Yoga Pit, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing, Murari Gupta's house is a little bit of a detour, but it's pretty much on the way. And so he called out to Murari Gupta, come, we're going to go see an amazing personality who arrived. So together they all went to Nandanacharya's house. And it's pretty, you go all the way down the road and you're there at Nandanacharya's house, yeah? Mahaprabhu went straight. He didn't take any, check in this house, check in that house. Mahaprabhu knew exactly where Nityananda Prabhu was. So arriving in Nityananda Prabhu's presence, arriving in the house of Nandanacharya, then Mahaprabhu came in front of Nityananda, and Nityananda, seeing Mahaprabhu for the first time in this lifetime, let's say, his happiness knew no bounds. He began to dance and chant and scream and laugh, all the great ecstasies exhibited in his body. Mahaprabhu, he wanted to show the greatness of Nityananda even more, yeah? So Vrindavandas Thakur here, he is describing the beauty of Mahaprabhu when he came in front of Nityananda. He says, as that of Cupid, he wore an attractive dress and a flower garland. Sandalwood paste was smeared on his forehead. The luster of gold appeared most insignificant before the body of the Lord. Even the moon god hankers to see his enchanting face. The Lord's teeth resemble a set of pearls, and seeing his attractive hair, one becomes unconscious. Seeing his two broad pink eyes, one wonders, are there any more lotus flowers in this world? His two long hands stretched down to his knees. A fine, thin Brahman thread beautified his broad chest. His forehead was wonderfully decorated with marks of tilak, and his body looked enchanting, even without any ornaments. His fingernails defeat the beauty of millions of jewels. and his attractive smile is nectar. Lord Vishwambar stood in front of Lord Nityananda, who at once recognized the Lord of his heart. So this is the description of Mahaprabhu standing in front of Nityananda. Nityananda, seeing Mahaprabhu, he was so shocked out of joy, right? It's described in Nityananda Thakur. First, he jumped and danced, and then he just stood completely transfixed on the Lord. He wanted to embrace the Lord. He wanted to serve the Lord. He wanted all his senses. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, out of joy, he was stunned. He stared at Lord Vishwambar without blinking his eyes. He desired to lick Vishwambar with his tongue and drink his beauty with his eyes. Nityananda desired to embrace Vishwambar with his hands and smell him with his nose. Yeah, he wanted to just grab Mahaprabhu and like merge with Mahaprabhu. When you really, sometimes when you hug your child, you just squeeze, you just want to like merge with them, right? That was the feeling Nityananda Prabhu wanted to embrace Mahaprabhu with. So Mahaprabhu wanted to bring the glories of Nityananda forward. So he told Srivas Pandit to chant a verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam, yeah, who glorifies Krishna's attractive form. This verse is describing when the gopis hear Krishna's flute, then they're remembering the pastimes and remembering the features of the Lord. So this verse we have. Barhapidam natavara karnayo karnikaram bibradvasa kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam randram venur adhara suyaya purayan gopa vrindair vrindaranyam swapadaramanam pravrishad gita kirti. Yeah? Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and a Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers. As he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints, he filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips. The cowherd boys sang his glories. Srimad-Bhagavatam 10:21-5. Yeah, so this is the verse that was chanted in front of Nityananda Prabhu. Hearing this verse, Nityananda Prabhu's ecstasy exploded. Then the Vaishnavas saw the potency of Nityananda, saw the power and the ecstasy that Nityananda has within his heart. It says he would jump so high in the air, but then he would fall unconscious, he would fall to the ground, not on his feet, right? He would jump and then, right? And so the devotees started praying to Krishna, please protect this person. His bones are going to break in ecstasy. He was jumping so high in the air and dancing in such a crazy way that the Vaishnavas were becoming worried. So they were praying to Krishna, please protect him, Finally, after dancing in such a crazy way for a good while, Nityananda Prabhu fell unconscious, and Mahaprabhu took him upon his lap. The Vaishnavas, the great Vaishnavas, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Thakur, they knew who Nityananda Prabhu was, so they all began to make comments. Gadadhar Pandit said, how contradictory this is. Usually Vishnu lays on Ananta. Now Ananta is laying on Vishnu, right? Immediately he knew who he is, but he said, this is so contradictory. What is happening here? These pastimes. Mahaprabhu began to describe, right? Mahaprabhu was talking about the glories of Nityananda, and sometimes he would say us, sometimes he would say him, sometimes he would say we, sometimes he would say I, describing them, yeah? And there, Murari Gupta, he comments, he says to Mahaprabhu, we're so confused. Are you two people? Are you one person? Because Mahaprabhu is speaking sometimes as if one person in Sanskrit grammar, or many people, or two people. So Murari Gupta is so confused, he's talking to Mahaprabhu, he says, are you two people or one person, right? He's hinting that these two people are inseparable, Murari Gupta. He's saying these two people are two souls, and one soul and two bodies. This is what Murari Gupta is pointing out. So Vrindavan Das Thakur then describes the beauty of Nityananda Prabhu as he's laying on Mahaprabhu's lap, right? A golden effulgence shone from the beautiful body of Lord Nityananda. Brilliantly shining ornaments decorated his charming bodily features. Yellow cloth adorned his waist, and he wore a turban decorated with champaka flowers. Tinkling ankle bells sounded as he walked. Tears filled his deer-like eyes. His enchanting smile appeared as if lightning had fallen down on the earth. His captivating smile disturbed the chastity of women. His grave voice resembled the sound of a cloud. His roaring sound subdued the mad elephants in the form of Kali. Yeah, so the roaring of Nityananda Prabhu subdued the roar of Kali Yuga. Yeah, he walked like an intoxicated elephant. Tears of love constantly flowed from his smiling face. So this pastime finally, after Nityananda Prabhu fell unconscious, laying on the lap of Mahaprabhu, finally they got up and they kind of got to their senses a little bit, kind of calmed down a little bit, and they embraced. Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu finally embraced in such loving sentiment, as we can see here. Yeah, Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu ki jai. I was looking everywhere for a picture of them hugging, and finally this came. It's the cover of Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda Part 1. Such a beautiful painting, yeah? You can see Gadadhar Pandits on the most, that side, then Srivas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, and then Murai Gupta's on this side. There are 4 people mentioned in this pastime. Many more devotees were there, but these are the main ones who were described. And so you can see Nityananda Prabhu's on the floor next to Nityananda Prabhu, there's the pitcher or the lota that was described by Mahaprabhu in his dream. It's described that this lota contained pure love of God. And so Nityananda Prabhu brought it to bring it to everyone. So this pastime that we spoke about today is a very beautiful pastime. And it says, Vrindavan Das Thakur specifies that anyone who hears about the meeting of Nityananda with Gaura Chandra will no doubt be released from material bondage. Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Nityananda Charitamrita ki jai. So now we will meditate upon the lotus feet of Nityananda, who, as we heard today morning, is Koti Chandra Shushitala, right? More soothing, more brilliant and more soothing than millions of moons, yeah? More cooling. So when you think about Lord Nityananda's feet, all the problems of this world goes away. So this is a beautiful lesson we can think about, right? That whenever we're having trouble in our material life or spiritual life, this picture, yeah, it's the cure-all. This is the miracle cure for everything that troubles us in this world. More cooling than millions of moons, yeah? So this Nitai Parakamala, yeah? It's a beautiful, beautiful song that Adamda Krishna Prabhu sang today morning. I'll just sing the first verse. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Je Chhaya Jagata Jurai Je Chhaya Jagata Jurai Shri Nityananda Rama ki jai. We'll sing one final song. This is another song by Lochandas Thakur. Akroda Paramananda. It's a beautiful song. And we'll read the translation first, again, so we know what we're singing. The noble Lord Nityananda is never angry. He is the personification of supreme transcendental bliss. Devoid of any concept of false ego, Nitai wanders about the town, going door to door in the residence of the most fallen and wretched souls. He freely distributes the gift of Harinam Mahamantra. He exclaims to everyone, to whomever he sees, while holding a straw between his teeth, "Please purchase me by worshipping Gaura Hari." So this verse, sometimes people don't understand. What does it mean, holding a straw between your teeth? Which living being has straw in his mouth? The cow, the most, the animals. So he's saying, I'm an animal. I'm nothing to you. I'm begging you, please, right? Please purchase me. Nityananda Prabhu is saying, you can buy me. If you want, I can give you my very life and soul, right? The verse goes, Amare kiniya laba, right? Kiniya, to buy, right? Amare kiniya laba, bolo Gaura Hari. If you just want to buy me even, all you need to do is chant Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari. Right? So he said, I'm willing to sell myself even. Just please chant. So to that extent, Nityananda Prabhu is begging. Not, I'll give you $1,000, I'll give you $1 million. No, I will become your slave if you chant Gaura Hari. This is what Nityananda Prabhu is begging them, with a straw between his teeth. Yeah? Saying thus, Nityananda Prabhu rolls on the ground, appearing like a golden mountain tumbling in the dust. Lochandas Thakur says, whoever has not experienced awakening of affection for such an avatar as this, that sinful person simply comes and goes uselessly in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Yeah, so his life has been wasted. If you haven't been able to, right, awaken affection for such a devotee who's begging you just to chant the holy name, then your life is useless. The same is the last verse of the song from today morning, right? That if someone who has not established a relationship with Nityananda in this life, right, say poshu boro durachar. He's like an uncontrolled animal, right? Uselessly living his life. So the same sentiment Lochandas Thakur is expressing in this song. So please sing along. Prabhu, you want to play Katha? Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Abhimana Sunna Nitai Gadjare Bedai. Abhimana Sunna Nitai Nagare Bedai. Adhama Patita Jiver Dvare Dvare Ghiya. Adhama Patita Jiver Dvare Dvare Ghiya. Hari Nama Maha Mantra Dichen Bilaiya. Hari Nama Maha Mantra Dichen Bilaiya. Jare deke tare kahe Dhrante trina dhari. Jare deke tare kahe Dhrante trina dhari. Amare kini alaha Bolo Gaura Hari. Amare kini alaha Bolo Gaura Hari. Eto bholi Nityananda Bhume gadi jai. Eto boli Nityananda Bhume gadi jai. Shonara parvata jeno Dulate lutai. Shonara Parvata Jena Dulate Lutai Eno Avatare Jar Ratina Janamilo Eno Avatare Jar Ratina Janamilo Lochan bole se papi Elo argelo Lochan bole se papi Elo argelo Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai Abhimana Shunna Nitai Nagare Bedai Abhimana Shunna Nitai Nagare Bedai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Shri Shri Nityananda Ram ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Lochan Das Thakur ki Nartan Das Thakur ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Jai. So we're right on time for Sandhya Arti. Sorry, no questions time. Have a wonderful Nityananda Trayodashi. Haribo. Now, all right. You want notes? Thank you.